What's up, my Mind Your Money business folks? It's me yet again with another video on today's stock market news. And as always, hopefully you're in the market and not trying to time the market because that is simply impossible to do. And as always, hopefully none of you are straddling the fence. You're actually investing, because that's what we should be doing in life. It should become something that's taught in school because it's a part of evolution. We should be progressing and not regressing. We should be growing. We should be learning. We should not be stagnant. We should not be straddling the fence. All of those negative things. So instead of talking about all those negative things, I talk about the positive things that are appreciating in life, like your life, like you as a person, your family, those good and positive things. But in order to get there, you have to do the right thing. You have to buckle down. You have to become very disciplined. You have to learn. You have to seek. You have to seek ye first, right? You have to seek these answers. You have to seek a way out. If not, you're going to stay where you are. And more than likely, if you stay where you are, things will continue to get worse because you're not allowing yourself to grow. You place this cap on your life and your situation, and dirt just continues to be piled onto you until you take your last breath. So either way, I don't know where that came from. But yeah, the market just closed, and it says here, the S&P 500 NASDAQ notched record close as AMD surges on OpenAI deal. So U.S. stocks mostly gained on Monday as the federal government shutdown entered another week, while a mega deal between AMD and OpenAI lifted hopes for the AI trade. The NASDAQ composite led the way higher, rising 0.7% amid an over 23% surge from AMD. I was wondering why my information technology ETF was up so high today. I was like, wow. Because NVIDIA was down. I'm like, it's not NVIDIA. So yeah, AMD, you had one stock. It went up 23% today. So the S&P 500 also gained 0.4% to notch a fresh all-time high. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, however, dropped 0.1%. So just know, the S&P 500 gained 4.4% today to notch a fresh all-time high. What that means is a lot of people made money today, to include myself. I made money. I woke up this morning because it's Tuesday morning here where I'm at. It's Monday Eastern Standard Time right now as I read this. And while I was sleeping, I was making money. That's where one of these terms come from. If you create a business that can make money without you even being there, like if you write a book, if you just create some type of program, or you offer some services via your website that is now automated because of AI, these YouTube videos, maybe not mine, but other people who are garnering like thousands of views and millions of views, and they're making money off of YouTube. They're doing it without them physically being there. They put in the work, and because of that work they place, it's now generating them cash. But it's not easy, people. It's not easy. It's not easy. But it can be done. And the sooner you do it, the better. Because the older we get, the more selfish we get, the more whore-headed we get. It's like that calcium just continues to build up in our brain that we don't want to do anything. We think that we don't have the energy to do what needs to be done, which is not true. That's why I always say think. You have to think. You have to think. You have to use this. You're not as tired or mentally drained, lazy, or bad as you think that you are. As a man thinketh, so is he. As a woman thinketh, so is she. So it depends on your mindset. It keeps you where you are, or you're open-minded and you continue to grow. Anyways, in another jolt to the AI Outlook, AMD said Monday it has signed a multi-year deal with OpenAI to supply chips that will bring in tens of billions of dollars in annual revenue. It also gives the ChatGPT owner the option to purchase up to 10% of AMD, one of NVIDIA's key rivals. I'm telling you, I was using the free version of ChatGPT for a while. Well, not for a while. I've dibbled and dabbled, but for the last couple of days, I was talking to a friend, and I purchased it, and I was playing around with it after I got off from work yesterday for hours, and I was amazed at what it can do. It's all about what you tell it. It's like the prompt. When you get into that prompt, those of you that use computers, you know the prompt, like the command prompt. Either way, you tell it what you want it to generate, and it will generate that. It will create scripts for you, and then you can take that script, right, and then you can go to another platform like, what is that other platform? InVideo, INVIDEO. You can go to their platform. You have to pay for that as well, and it's not cheap. Well, it's not. Either way, you can go to that platform, right? You can paste that script into that platform's command prompt, and it will create a video of what was created by ChatGPT in realistic form, or you can get it in animated form, and you can do this generative creation to where it looks so real, or it looks like an animated movie. You can do it for 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 10, however long you want the video to be. But just know, depending upon how long the video is, the more money you have to pay, or credits that you'll have to pay for that. And then if you run out of credits while you're using that platform, you have to purchase more to keep creating these videos. That's how they make money. But it's very interesting. Technology is going to, well, it's not going to, it is changing everything. And that's why I talk about these investments. That's why I create these videos every day. I know I'm just talking about the news. I'm reading stuff from the news, and then I talk in between, because it's very important for you guys to start investing. If you're not investing, and this technology takes over, where, you know, I even spoke to an AI creator on my way to work yesterday. She's in Texas, right? And she created this website, one person. And she's offering tax services. She's also a consultant. She's a doctor, by the way. She's also teaching people how to use AI, one person. So you now have one person that's running a whole business, and it can be automated with the use of technology. You're having these creators now that can create ads for companies using AI, and it looks like real people. You can also clone yourself. I may do that, and I could give AI this whole script here, have it have the software clone my picture, a picture of me, insert what I'm reading into it, have me be the moderator of that, and it will look just like me. And you would never know. You would never know. So yeah, anyways, you know, you're having these companies and this technology create and do things that would normally take maybe say a week or two or longer to do, and it can be done in 5, 10, or 1 minute, depending upon what it is and how long. 30 minutes to an hour, a couple hours, for less money. So when technology does that, what will that do to some people? Not all, but some people who are working certain and specific jobs. So that's why it's always good to have a plan B and sometimes a plan C. What is your backup? Are you investing? Are you utilizing your money? You know, it's like now with the government shutdown, even though I'm a part of the government, there are some people probably who need that paycheck that's due, right? But what if the shutdown goes longer and we're not paid. And there's some people, they still have to buy groceries, they still have to pay bills, they still have to pay rent, mortgage. But what if you were living paycheck to paycheck? What if you were living above your means? What if people were doing that and they have nothing in the bank? They may have good jobs, but nothing in the bank, and a shutdown happens or your layoff happens, and now you have no money coming in. That steady paycheck has stopped. Can you hop on plan B? Oh, or can you just simply use your emergency fund because you're debt free, which makes things a lot easier. So if the shutdown happens for a month, you have 3 to 6 months of living expenses set on the side that you can now tap into. So just think about that. So anyways, like I said, in another joke, AMD said Monday signed a multi-deal with OpenAI, right? So that served as another AI-related boost to a market that has proved resilient despite the shutdown in Washington. AMD wild rally lifted other chip stocks with Applied Materials, AMAT, Micron, and TSM all rallied. Not NVIDIA, but those guys did rally. So investors have focused on upbeat prospects for AI, even as the shutdown delays key economic releases such as the monthly jobs report. So on Wall Street, data-starved investors could still get inputs for calculating the chances of 2 interest rate cuts this year. On the Federal Reserve front, President Donald Trump backed Governor Stephen Miron is set to speak on Wednesday, followed by Chair Jerome Powell on Thursday. And data from non-government sources is also on deck, with the University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Report for October as the likely highlight. So meanwhile, the third quarter earnings are set to start trickling in with results from PepsiCo, Delta Airlines, and Levi Strauss on the docket this week. Yeah, and that's it for the news. Tesla did very well today, earning $23.42 today, closing out at $453.25. It took those losses, those heavy losses last week, right? And the money's coming back. Again, that's the ebb and the flow, the ups and the downs of the stock market. Broadcom lost $2.88 today, closing out at $335.49. Palantir gained $6.46 today, closing out at $179.53. Nvidia lost $2.11 today, closing out at $185.51. And I will also say this. I remember at some point, or at one point in time, when Nvidia would take a loss because I was so heavily invested in Nvidia and not so invested as much in my other investments like the S&P 500 or my information technology ETF, or I'll say Palantir, right? So what I did last year, right, I was like, I have enough of Nvidia. Even though I can buy more, I'm not. I need to bump up the rest of my investments. I don't need to be so heavily invested in one stock. I'm like, I need to take my own advice and make sure that I'm diversifying. So I remember when Nvidia would take losses, it would hurt my overall portfolio because I was so much invested in that one stock and not so diverse in the remaining stocks in my portfolio. So I sold some stocks. I sold like Micron. I sold like 4 or 5 different stocks, and then I invested the money into my ETFs, which are more diverse, which includes all of these individual stock companies anyway, like Micron, like Tesla, NVIDIA, AMD. Boom. That's why my FTEC stock went up today. It was up higher, but it closed out at a gain of $1.99, which is very good. And FTEC closed out at $226.98. So what I'm saying is, because I balanced my portfolio out today, even though Nvidia took a loss, my portfolio was green because I have investments in other places. My portfolio is well balanced now, And so there are times where when I buy stock, I may not buy Tesla. I don't buy any more Nvidia. I have enough. I have enough, right? I think I have like over 1,100 shares of Nvidia. I'm done. So yeah, might as well be transparent, right? So now I have thousands of shares of the S&P 500. So that's why I say when the S&P 500 takes these, or not takes, but has like these little gains of like 30 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents every day, and if you have thousands of shares of these stocks, that's good. That's why my portfolio today is up. Not today, but year to date, and the year's not up yet. 2025, we still have a couple months. Is up over 43%, which I think is good for me. I'm an average investor who had no idea as to what he was doing and still learning. That's why I read the stuff and I go over this stuff every day. I figured since I do it every day for me, I might as well share it, right? Maybe some of you are interested, because not everybody wants to do it, but maybe a couple of people will listen to me do it, right? Anyway, here nor there. I'm off track. The S&P 500, SPLG, gained 28 cents today, which is good. I still made money off of that 28-cent growth. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot, especially when these things, when your portfolio and your ownership of these stocks and ETF grow into the thousands. And then you have some of these companies within that ETF that pays dividend, that's paid to you as an owner. I own Tesla. I own Nvidia because I own the stock. I get emails all the time about votes within certain companies of the individual stocks that I own. I own it. Yeah, there are so many people. You're drinking Starbucks coffee every day. You own nothing. You're wearing all of these. You're wearing like Nike. You don't own any Nike stock. You're wearing and traveling and doing all these things, but you own none of them. But hey, it's your life, right? Oh, that's it. Let me get off here and go to work. All right, so you guys, get out of debt. You have to get out of debt. And I'm telling you, and I always say get out of debt at the end of each video and within the videos, because majority of the Americans are in debt. Americans are $18.2 trillion in debt that involves credit card, mortgages, car loan, just loans. You're in debt. $18 trillion total. Hell, the country's in 30-something trillion dollars worth of debt. Look at all of those debts. So what is going to happen when you do not solve a problem? If you don't solve your personal problem and you stay where you're at, like I said earlier at the beginning of the video, things continue to get worse for you. Not for those of us that are getting out of debt, that are trying to find solutions, that are creating 3 to 6 months of emergency fund, that are, doing what's right and what's healthy for them mentally, physically, and spiritually. It's like we're in the same world, but we're not. We're not. It's your mentality. It's your mentality. I can see people every day, they're complaining. I don't say a word because I have nothing to complain about. And if I do complain, it's one thing to complain, but why complain and you don't look for a solution? You have people complaining just to complain. You have people not liking other people just to not like them. Because there's, in my opinion, well, I'm not going to say that, but you understand what I'm saying. But get out of debt, people. And the only way that you can get out of debt is by creating a plan. And that plan is called a budget. God damn, it's a budget, people. Create a budget and start telling your money where to go. Add up how much money you have coming in each month and start subtracting your bills. And if your subtraction is bigger than what you have coming in, that's a problem. See where you can trim down. I guarantee you, if you create a budget, you can find money. You can stop trying to smoke, stop drinking as much, stop going out as much, stop buying clothes as much, stop going to Starbucks as much, stop eating out as much, stop living above your means. Stop. It's not smart. Even rich people don't do that. You remember that story of there? Elon Musk supposedly like sleeping on his friend's couch when he was a billionaire because of how he was being paid from his own company, and so he struck a deal with his board that if the company made over a certain amount of money, then they would have to pay him this amount. So he took no salary and he slept on someone's couch. And then I believe like years ago, Tesla actually exceeded the deal that he made with his board, and then they had to pay him that money, like 50 something billion. I can't remember exactly. Look it up, right? But then supposedly someone sued him and was trying to keep him from getting the money, but he got it anyways. But look at that discipline that he had. That's why he is a success. That's why he's as successful as he is. That's why he's the billionaire. He sacrificed, and that's something that we're not doing. We're not willing to sacrifice because we're not taught that. We're taught how to be spenders and doer of things, and then you wake up one day and you find yourself in a storm and you're trying to figure out why did you get there. But instead of taking ownership, taking accountability and responsibility, we look at the news, we listen to other people, and we find those things outside of us in our situation and circumstances as the reason why we're behind. It's because of them, or it's because of him, it's because of her. No, it's because of you and the decision that you made. So now all you have to do now is unravel, unwind, think about it, and figure out how to fix you. All right, so I'm going to end this video here. So like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Let me know what you think. If you think anything at all, disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor, nor am I pretending to be one. So any and all information on my channel is for entertainment purposes only. So please consult with a financial advisor before you invest any of your hard-earned money. All right, you guys take care. Peace.